And welcome to another episode of the Crappy Awesome Podcast. It's your host, Kelsey Ray. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. Platformcollection.com is where you'll find us. If you're listening to this on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spreaker, wherever podcasts are found, you can go over to platformcollection.com right now. Go to YouTube's Platform Collection at YouTube, Platform Collection at Instagram, and watch the video version. So you can see us in all our gloriousness. I got a really dope guest on today. I met this young lady a few years back, but I've been following her art for a long time. She's a multi-talented artist. So she has her hands in a lot of different artistic aspects as well as marketing. She runs her own businesses. So we really want to get into some insight with that independent thinking. And she's been making a name for herself within these last few years, especially putting out a lot of content for you guys to enjoy. But my homie Chata's on the show today. What's up, Chata?
What up? Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being on, man. I've wanted to have you on for a while. I'm obviously a fan of your work. We've worked together on past projects before. But it's your first time on. I kind of want to just get into like a little bit about your history, a little bit about like what got you started in like the art world. Where are you from originally?
So I'm from San Diego, California, born and raised.
Yeah.
I spent my early childhood upbringing, I was out on Campo Indian Reservation, which is where my relatives come from.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, I came out to the city, and I've been here ever since, just running around doing my thing.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have kind of a big family. My mom had 7 kids. She was busy.
Okay. Like, yeah. Do you guys share like a dad, or is it a different dad? Like, how's it split? Like, where do you fall in the line?
So on my dad's side, we got some different daddies in the mix, but you know, it's all little.
Yeah.
On my dad's side, I'm the youngest. I have 2 older sisters, with both my parents from him, and then just younger siblings from my mom's side. The youngest one, she just turned 19.
Yeah.
But she's dope. Yeah.
Yeah. Is she the one that's right behind you, or is there like would you be considered like a middle child, oldest child, or?
I would be considered like a middle child.
Okay.
Amongst my mom's children, yes.
Okay. How was that?
Being a middle child, for those of you who know, it's definitely like you're kind of on your own, if that makes sense. Like you got to be independent. But I have like a weird complex because on my dad's side, I was the baby. So, you know, I kind of...
Oh, that's weird.
Like spoiled and this, that, the other. But then I go to my mom's and, you know, I'm cooking my own damn dinner.
Yeah. Wait, okay. So growing up, was it like an artistic household? Did you guys have like, what was going on in the house that would have sparked, like when you look back on it now, can you look back and go like, oh, I probably got these artistic things from these things going on?
I would definitely say I come from an artistic family on both sides. Mm-hmm. My dad's side, historically speaking, were, you know, I mean, they work with their hands, very creative, pottery makers, musicians, photographers, that was all kind of in the mix of my dad's side. And I would say that like a lot of my interest in music, and even now, you know, we're kind of in Rona season, so there's not much to DJ, not many places to DJ, but I would say that the catalyst for me DJing and collecting records definitely stems from my dad's side. My mom's side, I mean, both sides come from an indigenous background, you know, and I feel like whether you're from, you know, indigenous from Mexico or you're from, you know, the States, creating is like, it's in our bloodline, you know, basket weaving, beading, sculpting, like, I feel like it's always kind of like been within me. But on my mom's side, my mom, she was a painter. in her early days. There's also connections. I have, great auntie and uncle that were some of the original muralists here in Chicano Park.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's always been there. I would say that, like, on my mom's side specifically, 7 kids. She was pretty busy. She worked a lot. She worked hard. We got by, but by no means like, were we spoiled. We shared a room.
Yeah.
I was a knucklehead, I would say.
What does that mean?
I didn't always get my way. But, I would act up. But I feel like the times that I would ever get praise was when I was being artistic. Like the fact that I could sit down at a piano and freestyle, or that I was able to like draw really good, or this, that, the other. That was like when I felt like I was most valued, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I got most of my praise from, because if I wasn't creating, then I was out being a knucklehead and then getting whoopings,
Where do you think that side of you comes from? Like, do you feel like, because you feel like there's like a rebellious side? It seems like there's like rebel within the art that you make. Is there a rebellious side in you, and like, where does that come from?
Absolutely. I think, it comes from the history of my people. Mm-hmm. Being indigenous, being of a Native American background, and even in the United States, being a Mexicano, like there is definitely like, we don't choose it, but we have to advocate for ourselves. And I feel like I grew up in a household that was not quiet about the injustices that we face and the discriminations. And so I feel like from a pretty early age, it was kind of like buck the system,
Right.
So I would definitely say that the rebellion and the resistance is just something that it's like in the DNA, it's historically passed down through stories. And I'm not just talking about, ancient Mexico, the Aztecs, fighting each other, or colonization. I'm talking about like, the 1970s, the 1960s. I'm talking about the 30s, 40s suit riots. Like that is all within, the history of like who I am and where my people come from. And I feel that, carrying on the education of it, carrying on the resistance of it, documenting it, it's kind of like it's a responsibility. It's an obligation that, all of us have, whether we choose to see it or not. For me though, I believe very much so in telling your story and documenting it. And in doing so, that is an act of resistance, you know? You're taking on your own narrative. And if you don't take on your own narrative, someone else will do it for you. Someone that doesn't understand you sometimes even,
Yeah. How do you juggle, because this is, these are things that like I think of as an artist as well. And I've talked to tons of people on this show about stuff like this. Like, how do you wrestle with the idea of like, you got to make a living, you have to eat. We don't get the art if you're not okay. Like like if we're fans of your art, we can't get your art if you're not okay, if you're not doing well. But then there's also a side of you that's like, fuck the system, fuck how things should work. But I mean, at the end of the day, you still need money, right? Like you still need money. You still have to find a way to survive. How do you like? What's your philosophy on that? Like, how do you balance those two sides?
That's. I mean, I can't say that I've fully figured out the answer to that. For me, a lot of what I do, I mean, I'm kind of spontaneous, I would say, like, especially early on, like, I'm the type of person where if there's something I want to do, I'll do it. Yeah. And I don't necessarily have like a date in mind. Like sometimes it's like the opportunity is now and I just got to take it and I just got to run with it. But there definitely like is a balance. To me, it's something where it's like, if it's something that I want, if it's something that interests me, just gonna shoot the shot. You might miss, but it's better than not trying at all. I'm kind of in a position right now, where with my occupation, I've been able to create a decent balance of doing my, production of art and the things that I put out, and then being able to
feeding yourself.
Skills. Yeah.
But I mean, I imagine, right? Like because I would even say as like an advocate of like your work, I would be like, in a perfect world to me, you'd have all the time you need to work on whatever creative things you can. Is that something you aspire to, or do you always feel like, hey, I want to have one foot in like, say, like a 9 to 5 world, or a world where it's more genuinely like people experience every day? Or are you like, no, as an artist, I'm trying to get free. Like I don't want to have any rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is that a goal?
Absolutely. I think that's a goal. I think that's a goal for every creative person, is to have that freedom and that ability to move in whatever space and dimension you want without being tied down to, oh, I gotta go clock in here. Let me pause, because as an artist, as a creative, I realized like there is no pause, because even if you at that 9 to 5, like something might pop up and you're like, shit, like I gotta run with this, like, let me step away to the bathroom, to write this down real quick. But for me, the recipe that I've kind of been going off of is just don't stop, just keep pushing. Things don't happen overnight.
Yeah.
I get lucky, but I get lucky with certain opportunities because it's at the forefront. I'm working on it. Like everything that I do, there's some type of intention that makes it to where I'm creating another step up the ladder,
Right.
So
yeah, you seem very, I mean, I can tell you this. I think one of the things I enjoy the most about, like, for instance, like your Instagram, right? Your Instagram, in fact, I think we have it up. Your Instagram, it is you, right? Like it's you, it's your stuff, it's your voice, but it's also very well curated, right? Like it's like you're curating yourself. And that's an interesting thing too, because that speaks to not just the talent to create the art, but to present it. You know what I mean? And like, as an artist, you've been an artist for a while. It's not like you're really, really new at this at all. But you've been an artist for a while. That a lot of the times when artists are challenged with trying to make whatever they're doing into something that can sustain their life, the challenge comes when they have to present it to a larger audience and it doesn't translate. Whereas like with your stuff, it seems like there's definitive statements. Like you can look at your Instagram and go like, oh, okay, I feel the vibe. I get the story. There's different pieces. And then that kind of connects to like your other art, and then it connects to other things you're doing. It's like one story. But like I know that's not easy to do. It's not like that just falls into your lap. Like there has to be some thinking into that. Like, what's your process when you are, like, say, curating yourself?
It's a very emotional process.
Yeah, I bet.
I would not even know where to begin with that. It's just something that just naturally kind of happens,
Yeah.
I don't know, like obviously there's a strategy to it, but when it comes to describing what that strategy is, I really can't tell you, because I really haven't dug deep enough into myself to be able to write down the recipe. It's just how it flows. It's just.
Is that on the is it on the to-do list? Is it something that you work with or struggle with to like try to put it into perspective? Like, because every artist deals with these. I was just talking to an artist who's a touring artist. He tours the world, right? Everything seems like it should be fine. But even, at that level, even he is having like these daily doubts of like, is this art really saying what I want it to say? Is it really making an impact? Is it really doing these things? Do you struggle with those challenges?
Honestly,
Yeah.
I at this point in time, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I understand like my value. I understand my perspective of my art and where it's coming from. You know, like it's coming from a place within me that, you know, no one. It's something that no one can really like touch.
Right. Not everyone's ever really gonna really know it,
They're
right?
not gonna really know, and
Right.
I don't know.
I get that
like,
though. I think that comes through though. There is a mystery to it that comes through of like,
yeah,
and it's weird because you have this strong. I mean, not only do you stand just as an artist in general, but you also have a strong female voice that you put out forward. And then you also model, right? Like your sexuality is very much controlled by you. It's
right.
very obvious through the art that you make. But is that like what is the downside to any of this? Is there a downside? Like as an artist, because there's young artists listening right now that are going like, oh, I want to do what she's doing. And
Right.
and she seems like she's doing it easy, like she's making it look easy. Is it easy, or is there what's the bad side of this?
I mean, of course, there's days sometimes where you just get mentally exhausted, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's like necessarily like the creating aspect, but you know, like I'll have my days.
Yeah.
I have my highs and my lows, and I would say my lows is what makes my highs possible. You know, I feel like some of my best work comes from my hardest times. You know,
Right.
and I feel that overall, you know, especially like with my upbringing and my story, my childhood, this, that, the other. To me, art has always kind of been like a therapy. You know, it's like a release of energy. It's a translation of like my innermost.
Yeah.
And so I feel like at the core of my artwork is like
you,
me,
yeah,
and my energy and how I'm choosing to translate my traumas.
Yeah.
You know,
It's very
not just my
vulnerable
trauma.
though, no?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But if I don't do it,
Yeah.
you know, no one else is going to do it for me.
Is it worth
You
the
know,
pain so far? Has it been worth the pain?
I wouldn't say there's like a lot of pain in like doing the art. I would say it's, if anything, the release of pain. You know, and I'm not a tortured soul or nothing like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just very upfront and vulnerable with like the root of my creativity, you know, and like I somehow, one way or another, in almost like a means of survival, learned how to like harness, you know, like hard parts of my past, and been able to translate it into things that bring me great joy, like my community, like my family, and just the things that I enjoy, the things that bring me joy. You know, like if you go through, like for example, if you go through my Instagram, you're gonna see a lot of community and like candid shots and glimpses of where I've been, and parts of my past that, like, you know, like historical photos, things that, you know, are part of me historically. Maybe I wasn't there, but it's like it all ties into like who I am today and why I am this way.
Yeah. It's interesting. I told somebody the other day that your Instagram, I was describing it to them like, it's, to me, when I look at it, it's like a tree with all these branches, right? Like it's one thing, but when you look at it from afar, it looks like this one thing. But as you look closer, there's so many different layers of like the stuff you post and how it relates to you. Like the pictures that you put up that you obviously see yourself in as well, even when you're not in the photo. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like there's like a genuine love for what's in front of your camera. You know what I mean? Like it comes across. I've always been attracted to that kind of art because I feel like you can tell when somebody loves what they're taking a picture of, or they're filming. You know what I mean? Like because there's only a way that somebody who's in love with whatever they're seeing can make it look, you know?
Yeah.
Like you, again, like there's a photo up here. If you guys are listening to it, you guys should be watching the video, but there's a photo right here with the broken glass of the candle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you could see, there's actually a cap of a hypodermic needle. I don't know if people catch that, but it's there, and the picture is beautiful
Mm-hmm.
though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's a painful I mean, that picture is a painful fucking picture. Like tears have shed for that, what's in that picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
They could be shedding right now, actually. But the way you look at it, you have to have loved the story, I think, anyways, to have taken the photo, you know?
Absolutely. There's definitely like I mean, when I'm shooting, there's almost like I check out. There's like this whole emotional aspect that takes over. But I would say when I am out and I am, you know, walking the neighborhood, or, you know, in a different community that is not something that I'm familiar with, I primarily shoot off of emotion. You know, there's something within that photo that or that imagery that captures me, and that makes me like, you know, decide to capture it, to document it.
Yeah. What was the first thing you did publicly that you could say like, oh, this was the first time like I kind of stepped out as an artist? What was that thing?
Well, so I mean, there's so many, like in my childhood, I would say the first time that I kind of stepped out as an artist, I was probably like 6. And like one of my pictures was chosen in this school district's competition.
Yeah.
And I was able to show at the Museum of Art in Balboa Park.
Yeah.
So part of an like exhibit there. But at the time I did not understand like how like crazy that is. Like me as an adult.
Right. You just won something at that age. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think I'll ever have that space that I had. Like I accomplished something that I don't think I will be able to accomplish again. You know,
well, we'll see. We'll see. Possibly. I could definitely see you returning back. But yeah, that's huge. That's a thing that like working professional artists aspire to. Right. And you had it at 6.
Crazy is like I had it at 6, but I was also like some low income little res kid.
Yeah.
That shared a room with, I don't know, 4 other kids. And somehow like I was able, you know, like without even trying to like get into that position. And I feel like a lot of the positions I've ended up in, it's always just been kind of like, I guess that's just my fate, you know, like I'm not having to chase it down, you know, it comes to me. And I mean, perhaps one day there will be a time where I chase something down and that's okay. Some things are like worth the run.
Sure.
But for the most part, a lot of the things I've done, it just kind of happens organically. You know, it's just like a natural progression of time and me as a creator.
I mean, and you're in your 20s, right? You're young.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're young. So like, yeah, there's this amazing. To me, it's amazing that it's happening to you, especially at that age, because it's 100% guaranteed that this is still growing. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that this is what it's going to be. We're watching it become what it's going to be. You know what I mean? Like, it's developing into that. How did you get into the modeling part? Like, what drew you to that? Because as a photographer, was it weird to like come around to the other side? Like, was that something you were comfortable with at first?
Absolutely, it was weird. I never. I mean, I would say honestly, I've always been like somewhat of like a performer, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And I've always, as far back as I can remember, like even when I think about like visual like memories and stuff like that, I've always had like a very like photographic type of thought process. Like when I think in photos, you know.
Yeah.
I think all people think in imagery, but I see it like a certain type of way.
Sure.
So I feel like I've always kind of like had the eye to do photography, but when it came time to me being like a model, like I was a very like, you know, like I just always felt like kind of like a funny looking like kid. I kind of was a funny looking kid. And then like, you know, awkward teenager. And then like, even like in like my like earlier 20s, it was something that I was never really interested in like the spotlight of things. I always preferred more behind the scenes,
Sure.
kind of in the back. But I would probably say like the first time that I really like modeled or whatever for a company was with Tribal.
Uh-huh.
And it was
For people
just
who
like,
don't know, it's a world famous brand born here in San Diego. And it's overseas as well, Japan, Europe.
yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. It just like one day I was in the office and Bobby Tribal hit me up and was like, "Hey, like, would you ever be interested in like modeling some shirts or whatever?" And I was just kind of like, "Oh, what? No, okay, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
why not?" Like, initially I wanted to say no.
Uh-huh.
Like, I wanted to say no so bad, but I was like, you know what? Why not? Like, this could be a cool opportunity.
Yeah.
So when I shot with them, and I felt so awkward. Like I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should like smile. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But we shot, and I mean, it was cool. And I feel like from that point forward, like once I pulled the Band-Aid off, you know, it just kind of started to like flow and go from there. And it was like literally like from there, it just like snowballed. And
Yeah.
I would say like I'm like, I mean, I don't have like an agency or anything like that behind me, but I went from modeling with Tribal to getting into British Vogue,
Right. Right.
print, which was like dope with Ola Swim, which is another local San Diego company.
Right.
I was able to work with like Arts and Rec.
I mean, you've been on. I mean, the amount of print you've been on now is it's huge. Like,
yeah, I mean, I've had a good run. Have I had a good paycheck? Not yet, but but you know, it's baby steps, kind of. I'm kind of at a point right now where, when it comes to like the modeling stuff, like with like homies and like brands that I'm interested in working with, I'm definitely like, you know, okay, I'm open to it, but I'm also more exclusive when it comes to like,
yeah. You kind of picking your shots. You pick your shots. Yeah.
100. And you know, to be honest with you, I feel like I've always kind of been exclusive, but I'm more exclusive and more open to the idea of asking for compensation. Whereas in the past, when I was first starting out, it was just kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. But the older I get, the more I'm kind of starting to see my value and my worth.
Yeah.
And you know, if I want to get to that next level, I can't discount myself, you know, and that goes not just with modeling, but you know, with like all aspects of my creative ventures. And I think that's like one of the hardest parts about being an artist.
Yeah.
Is like, what is your value? What is your worth?
Yep.
And sometimes people aren't gonna like necessarily what you price yourself at, but
right.
At the end of the day, you know,
you're determining that price.
Yeah, I'm determining that price, but also it's like you have to think about like, well, what they're gonna want me to like shoot for free or design something like for free or you know whatever, but then like they're gonna use that in turn
and benefit
and make off of it. So it's like I think I'm starting to get to a point to where like I'm understanding, you know.
Yeah, I would bet. I bet I've always. I mean, I have a lot of friends who model, and the things that they have to deal with is it's weird, right? Like to think about like, oh, that still exists. Like it's still existing daily, even within our own culture. You know, like within our, which is sad. Like that's ridiculous that even has to happen, but. I mean, you're killing it though, dude. It doesn't seem like it's, you know what I mean? Like it's not really making that much of a dent in your work. And I think that speaks to, you know, just the amount of thought and time you're putting into like choosing what you do. I mean, I wouldn't, I'll tell you this, like if I'm an investor and I'm coming to your company, I'm not paying you to do something new. I'm paying you to do you at a higher level, you know? And I think that's important for young artists to listen to, because a lot of times young artists are trying to be like something. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, I think the benefit in the strong point of everybody is that they are themselves. No one can bring to the table what I bring to the table, just like no one can bring to the table what you bring to the table. And I mean, you might have like similar interests or a similar style as, you know, let's say like myself, like, or I don't know, someone else out there that's like really popular or killing it or bringing something to the table. But at the end of the day, it's like you don't want to emulate me. Like, you want to create your own path. You want to create your own style, because at the end of the day, no one's going to do you better than you do you. And everybody has, like, I think, like, their own, like, uniqueness and their own value that is interesting. You just kind of have to, like, find a way to, like, harness it, you know?
Yeah.
And take control.
I agree. I think that it's to me, I try to tell younger artists this a lot. I mean, to me, that's the funnest part, right? Like, I think that it's super dope. I know artists who are able to recreate things very well, and I like that, and I can appreciate it. I happen to slide to the side of artists who tend to create things that didn't previously exist in the way they present it, right? Like, if we look at your work, we can go, okay, there's obviously indigenous roots here. There's obviously neighborhood importance. There's beauty within people. There's all those things, but the way you do it doesn't look like anybody else. Yeah, even the modeling, dude. Like, even the modeling, like this picture is amazing, and people are missing it if they're not. But that picture is amazing. That picture is amazing, and it doesn't look like what you would expect, right? Like, this is, by the way, it's funny because you were saying, I wasn't into the modeling thing at first. I thought it was awkward or whatever. But I'm telling you, if you look at that picture, you're like, oh, she's been modeling since she was 2. You know, like, that's what it looks like. But it also speaks to a certain, you know what it is with you, Chata, is a lot of your work, I feel like, if you know, you know. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, when you look at it, it's like, why is it cool to me? Well, that'd be hard to explain. I just know that there's people that I know that can relate to looking at that picture and going, oh, I know things about that. I feel things about that. I can feel the culture in it. I can see the way she looks, everything, the jacket she's wearing, all of it speaks to something. And I think that the better artist you are, because I think ultimately, right, like, that's what we're all trying to do, is we're trying to make you see what's in here the clearest possible way. Right. Like, and that shit's hard as fuck. It's hard as fuck to do that. So when you really can knock it out of the park like that, that's amazing, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. What do you got coming up? What can people look forward to? Wait, first of all, wait. Let's not go into that yet. Let's back up. Because I didn't ask you this. I've been asking everybody who's come on the show this. When COVID hit around March 12th, 13th, what was happening in your life? What did it disrupt, if anything? And where are you at with it now?
Oh my gosh. Coronavirus brought so much insight into my life, into what's important, into my priorities, into who is still on my island and who got voted off. It was a blessing and a curse, but overall, like, I'm thankful for the experience of it. When COVID hit, so it was like around March 10th or 11th.
Yeah.
I drove up to the Bay to visit some guy that I, had a little tang with. And on my way down, I totaled my car.
Oh, shit.
It was Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th. I totaled my car.
Of course.
So then...
Wait, how did it happen? I mean, were you okay? Did you get...
I was okay. It was all very. I walked away. It was fine.
Okay.
I walked away, but I didn't have a car at the end of it for a moment. So then that happened. Then I got out of like that relationship.
From that relationship?
Not like from the car accident, but all the
no, but I'm saying from the guy that you were driving home from.
Yes.
That you wrecked. Oh my God! Yes. Talk about crapping out.
Like COVID literally just kind of like stripped me from my car, from a relationship.
Yeah.
From like work, like no work was happening. I literally just had to like sit down. I had to sit down. The universe was telling me to sit down. And so I sat down.
Yeah.
And it was like that for like a good 4-5 months that I did that. And then I would say it finally got to a point to where I was able to kind of like take my rest and start to rebuild again. You know, start to get creative again, start to have drive. I got my wheels back, my employment, like everything fell back into place. But I definitely like am lighter now, and I'm more. I would say I'm more like confident, and I'm more hungry, and I'm more on like a hustle tip, if that makes sense.
Yes, it 100 makes so much sense, dude. Because probably out of the last 15 people that have come on or that I've spoken to already since the coronavirus hit, have all kind of like all together unanimously, and they're all creatives, right? They're all creatives, have all kind of gone, yeah, it's bad, but I mean, for me, it's been pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I've said this 100 times on the show already. The fans are probably getting tired of it, but again, it trips me out so much that like my creative friends, they're all doing all right. Like they've all started new projects. My very, very social friends though, oh man, they hit a wall. Like my friends who go to like the bars all the time are like, oh man, they hit a wall. Like they're having a really hard time. But I just haven't seen it on this show anyways, because everybody that comes on is like some sort of creative, and all of them have had kind of like, positive. I mean, it's weird to say, right? In a worldwide pandemic, but I think that I was just saying this the other day. I hope somebody makes a documentary or book about the amount of people that blew up during COVID. Because there's so many people that are great things are happening to that might not have ever happened. Because I think what has happened is like, I say it all the time with the scroll, like on Instagram, right? I'm notorious for, I'll scroll 4 pictures, maybe 4 or 5, and then on the stories, it's who's ever just in that little top section. That's all I ever watch, or that's all I ever did watch. Now I'll go through all the story. I'll just sit here and be like, I'm going through. Everybody's giving everything kind of a chance because people want something different. And I think like your art and what you make is one of those things. It's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show. It's one of the reasons I wanted to at least expose our audience to you more, because I think they need to be seen like, dude, if this is for sure something that is creating a renaissance in our time right now, as pandemics do, you're a part of that thing. And it's super dope to watch, honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I don't know if I necessarily see it like that, but I appreciate that.
No doubt. Okay, so what do you got coming up? What can we expect from here till like maybe the second quarter of next year? Like what's around the corner?
Well, so on a personal tip, I've kind of jumped back onto my own merchandise and branding.
Yeah.
So I got lots of things lined up for that. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, you probably should check it out.
Yes.
Lots of merch drops, just like dope stuff, photography. Aside from that, let me make sure I get this correctly.
Yeah.
I was also invited just recently at the end of November to be a part of a show at the Front Arte and Cultura Gallery down in San Isidro. I'll be one of 5 photographers.
Wow.
all the photographers are coming from Oaxaca, from Mexico City, from Tijuana, and I'm gonna be the one from San Diego. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing giant wall projections onto a building. So I'm really excited about that. To me, it's kind of a big deal because I'm going to be exposed to a whole different group of artists and the neighborhood.
Yeah, the audience as a whole will be a little different than you've dealt with.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. And then it's somewhat under wraps, this, that, the other, but I have some cool stuff in the mix with Por Vida Coffee and their new store expansion. I can't get into too much detail about it, but if you're a fan of my photography, then you're definitely gonna wanna check them out when they open up at their newest location in the Plaza Bonita. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So I got my hands full. Right now, I kind of just go month by month, in terms of like what I'm going to be doing. But I'm open to collaborations. I'm open to shows. I'm open to, being in different settings. I love San Diego. I feel like I've definitely grown a lot in San Diego, but the next chapter of what I'm going to be doing and creating, I would love to be able to branch out more to Los Angeles and the Bay Area, and just kind of get a little more outreach. But yeah, I don't know. It's a big world, and I want a bite of it. So
nice.
And that's what I'm doing.
That's awesome, man. Man, thank you so much for being on the show. Please come back when you have stuff to promote. Our audience, Crappy Awesome, you guys know her now. Reach out to her. Make sure you guys follow her. Again, if you're listening to this, go watch it, and we'll put the links at platformcollection.com right under the video. You can get all her links. Also, her gear sells out all the fucking time. So when it's out there, grab it, snatch it up. Because you do limited runs a lot, right? Like there's stuff that won't get done again. So it's really cool collector stuff as well. So make sure you guys support that. She DJs. When she DJs, she kills it. So make sure you go check that out. And just follow her. She's got a busy year coming up, hopefully. And thankful for you being on, man. Good luck with everything. Hopefully we'll one day finish the project that we're all working on. We're working on a super secret project. Hopefully. One day, but we'll be on it. Please take care of yourself, and guys, follow everything Chata's doing. Say your Instagram real quick.
It's at Chata_SDXCA.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right, Chata. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys having me on here. I'm very humbled, and I look forward to all of the future things. So. Yeah.
Word up.
Okay.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay. All right.
That's the homie Chata, man. She's one of the good ones. I'm telling you. Guys, make sure you guys go follow her. Do whatever you got to do. Just support her. She's killing it. Strong female artist. Strong artist in general. She'll body most of the dudes. That's no bullshit. She's got skills. So go check her out. Follow her, support the projects, buy the gear. The gear is super dope. Maybe we could do some giveaway or something at some point. But yeah, I'd love you guys to go support everything she's doing. We got more shows coming up, guys. Oh man, there's a bunch of stuff coming up. Some really cool guests. And like I said, some of the new shows are having rebirths already. You guys know how we do. We revamp, we shoot, revamp, shoot, chisel, revamp, all that good stuff. You know, I gotta shave. You guys think I should shave? I'm shaving my head though at some point within a month, I think. Ooh, that gave me chills. Yeah, within a month. I'm shaving my head. It's the last of it. 2021 needs a new start. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. So follow us, platformcollection.com. Again, shout out to Chata. And go over to Platform Collection. Check out all our past episodes. Man, we got years and years on deck of some of the dopest artists you know today. We've watched a lot of these artists grow. Super proud to be associated with them. So go check them out. Go do that. And go to 2mex TV. Support the homie 2mex. He's killing it. So we'll see you guys next time. Cover your mouth. Wear a mask. Wear a mask. You know what I'm saying? Just do good stuff. Please. Treat each other nice.